Well, hey there, I'm Jay. Welcome to my booth. I want to walk you through 3 of my favorite microphones here in my studio under $1,000, all of which sound a little different, and I really dig. Those being the Neumann TLM 102, the Earthworks Ethos, and the newest member of the family here, the Shure KSM 32, all of which I really dig and have used extensively up to this point. And let's dive into them. I'll give you a blind comparison so you can just get a feel for the sound of each of them, and then I'll talk a little bit more about each microphone individually. Let's dive in. This is microphone A. There's no effects applied to this microphone. I'm about 3 to 4 inches away from it at the moment, and this is how it sounds. And here we are on microphone B. Microphone B. How do you feel about this one? And microphone C. Microphone C. How do we feel about this one? Again, no post-processing effects applied. This is how it sounds naked. And back on microphone A. Here's how it sounds. And there are, again, no effects. What do you think about this one? And back again on microphone B. There are no effects applied. The gain level is relatively matched. And how do you feel about this guy? And again on microphone C, how do we feel about microphone C? Here it is. And for the last time, we're back on microphone A. How do you feel about it? And one last time, back on microphone B. How do you feel about microphone B? And the last time, microphone C. How do we feel about this? Microphone C. And the grand reveal, microphone A was the Earthworks Ethos. Microphone B was the KSM 32. Microphone C, the TLM 102. So, before we dive into talking about all these microphones, just a couple quick disclaimers. Firstly, all were purchased of my own accord. I'm not affiliated with any of the manufacturers, and the opinions are mine and mine alone. Next, these microphones all are relatively the same price point, at least when they started off. The Ethos was $699, I believe, when it first hit the market. As of now, it is only $399. What a steal. The TLM 102 is $699 to $799, depending on the package you get. And the KSM 32 is, I think, $500 to about $600, again, depending on the package that you elect to purchase. So let's talk about the Earthworks Ethos. Why do I like this microphone? Why is it one of my top picks under $1,000? For voiceover in particular, of course, the sound. It's really smooth, pleasant, easy to listen to, and for my use case, I do a lot of long-form narration, which really benefits from an easy listening experience. I don't really want a lot of punchy, heavy promo-style mics, so tube microphones, the F16 TLM 103, those can be kind of, in my experience and personal use, a little bit more aggressive, forward-leaning, which makes them fantastic for commercials, promos, things that are in short bursts. This microphone is fantastic for long-haul reads, things like audiobooks, article narrations, e-learning, things like that, which I tend to do a fair amount of. And in addition to that, in long-haul recordings, because this microphone is so low profile, my entire field of vision is completely open. And I've stated it before here, a pet peeve of mine is huge pop filters and shock mounts just soaking up my field of vision. I personally hate it. I hate it. I don't know why. It just really grates on me. This microphone is a joy to use for that reason. You can adjust it any way you want. It can be above you, it can be below you, and you get a really nice sound. In addition to that, it has a really, really tight pickup pattern. And while I have this really lovely booth that's really well isolated, occasionally sounds can pop in. This microphone helps reject any of those sounds that do end up making it through my booth to a greater degree than a hypersensitive microphone like my Neumann U87, for example. And for that reason, this microphone is really, really easy to use. It takes to post-processing exceptionally well. It makes it really easy to use for long-haul recordings. So if I do, say, an audiobook, I don't have to worry about little artifacts sneaking in there. I don't have to do exceptionally close listens necessarily to hear for airplanes in the background while I'm recording. If an airplane flies by, it may not even get picked up. So it's really, really a joy to use in terms of ease of use, in terms of the smoothness of sound, and the frequency response on my voice I really like. In addition to that, this foam windscreen, if I take it off, it really opens up the sound and gives you, not exactly, but kind of a whole new microphone instead of that smooth, sort of muted, broadcasty top end. This, if I were to use a more transparent pop filter like this guy here, it just makes it a really lively, brighter sound that's exceptionally lifelike, and I haven't found anything quite like it in other microphones. So for $400, this is a great, great microphone and incredibly versatile. Let's hop to the next one, talk about that one. So jumping to the KSM 32, there are a number of things that I really, really enjoy about this microphone, not least of which is the bang for your buck. The value at $500 to $600 for this thing is tough to beat. And if you find it on sale or used, then all the better. Especially because for that value, it, in my opinion, bats at a level in terms of its sound, its sensitivity, its response, its usability, its ease of use is competitive with the Neumanns that I have here in my studio. I use it interchangeably, or have been using it interchangeably, with my TLM 103 as well as my U87 AI in some cases. And they are different again, but it's standing up with them, and that's saying something, I think. What I appreciate about the sort of neutral, easy listening, some have said almost boring sound, at least relative to other more exciting forward-leaning microphones, as I've mentioned, the TLM 103 or the Sennheiser 416. This one lets me make the decisions, which I am finding more and more I like over overly aggressive microphones. In addition to that, this microphone has a lot of flexibility because it doesn't inherently roll off the low frequencies. It doesn't have a built-in high-pass filter like many other microphones. On the back here, you'll notice it has two switches. One is a pad, which takes off about 15 decibels. So if I start doing, say, animated work or something like that, I flip the switch and it just takes down the level. The other is 3 modular high-pass filters. And I leave it on flat because I find that my voice, I get a lot of information from the low end, which with other microphones, like say the TLM 102, they roll off at about 50 hertz, whereas this one does not. And you can hear the difference, in my opinion, and I like that. So this microphone is really, really helpful for me in terms of the sensitivity, the sound, and I dig it. Let's hop to the TLM 102 and talk a bit about that one. Now, I've talked about this mic before here on this channel in a couple videos, so forgive me if you've heard this before. But things that I really like about this mic, the sound, again, unoffensive, but compared to the other two, it's got a little bit more glitter in the top end. Not much, but a little to my ear. Really pleasant tone. It requires a fair amount of gain. It's comparable to the KSM 32 in terms of how much gain you need to drive in order to get a usable sound out of it, which isn't a bad thing, but just something to note. In addition to that, of course, the form factor, it being such a small microphone for me, I'm a huge fan of stuff that gets out of my face, lets me do my job. This does that really well. Lastly, it has a somewhat of a built-in pop filter. There's a bit of foam in the windscreen. I would still use a external pop filter if I were going to use this for a job, but you don't need to use it all the time. I'm not using one now, and it seems to be going pretty well, so take that for what it's worth. And as far as the sound goes, I think all of the three of these mics sound great. It's just a thing of personal opinion, but I love all three and have used them and still do to great lengths here in my studio. So, which one of these three mics was your favorite, if you have a favorite? I would love to hear about it. And until the next one of these, be well, and I'll see you there. Toodles.